Hi guys, my name is Melody and thanks for stopping along. This is another booktube video because I read one book this week and I am currently listening to another. I am still having to finish those essays off because they are still making us do that, currently speaking. So I am into reading some other things. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm not going to just review one book or talk about one book. I'm going to talk about the Netflix series that I watched as well, The Tiger King. So stay tuned if you want to listen to me talk about these things right now. I'm going to try to make this video as light as possible, so I hope you enjoy this one. So let me just read this along to you. So what I finished reading was The Art of Not Falling Apart by Christina Patterson. She's a journalist in the UK. So I'm going to read the synopsis for this. It's quite a long synopsis on Goodreads. I gave it a 5, by the way. I just want to let you know up front, 5, okay? So we plan, as the old proverbs say, and God laughs. But most of us don't find it all that funny when things go wrong. Most of us want love, a nice home, good work, and happy children. Many of us grew up with parents who made these things look relatively easy and assumed we wouldn't get them to. So what do you do if you don't? What do you do if you feel you've messed it all up and your friends seem to be just doing fine? For Christina Patterson, it was her job as a journalist that kept her going through the ups and downs of life. And then she lost that too. Dreaming of revenge and irritated by self-help books, she decided to do the kind of interviews that she'd never done before. The resulting conversations are surprising, touching, and often funny. There's Ken, the first person to be publicly fired from a FTSE 100 board. There's Winston, who fell through a ceiling onto a purple coffin. There's Louise, whose baby was seriously ill, but who worried about being fat. And through it all, there's Christina, eating far too many crisps as she tries to pick up the pieces of her life. The Art of Not Falling Apart is a joyous, moving, and sometimes shockingly honest celebration of life as an adventure, one where you ditch your expectation, raise the glass, and prepare for a rocky ride. Now, the community reviews are at about 4.5 stars. Okay, so I started reading this book before everything happened, as we know what's going on in the current climate. I'm going to try not to mention that too much here, but I started reading that before this happened. This book is actually really well written, and it actually shows a lot of uplifting stories that show that people can get through the most difficult times through will, determination, and just a great sense of life. It's not a self-help book. However, I think it's given me a little bit more sight into what's going on right now in my life. Last Wednesday, I lost my contract for my job that was due to start on April the 13th. And currently I have no funds, no job, no financial means of support once my student loan runs out in May. So we do have a family which we may have to depend on, but I don't know what's happening right now because everything is up in the air, and that's the point of it. And the book, The Art of Not Falling Apart, is so apropos for that because she just goes through, and it's a lovely story. It weaves her story through several different aspects of other people's ways that they have coped with things like depression. There is some suicide in it, but it tells you how people just can get through everything life throws at them. That, you know what, losing your job is not the most important thing in the world. The most important thing in the world is your family, your health, and your happiness. And that's what the most important thing in the world for me is right now, is to make sure that I have a happy, healthy family. I'm currently looking after 2 children who have no school now. So I say looking after, I'm guiding them and telling them what to do, basically. I am the boss, but you know, that's me. But I would suggest that, like, I finished this after I got that call, and I would suggest others to read it because it did lift my spirits and gave me, I think, a more settled mind after that. It's hard to have that when you have issues such as bipolar, anxiety, OCD, that sort of thing, because those can get really on top of you really fast, especially if you're in a confined position. Okay, so that book is a 5. If you want to read it, you can download it on Kindle. I got it for free because I have Amazon Prime student, already paid for the year. Amazon Prime, that was a free Kindle book. So that is the book that I read this week. Now, let's talk about this Netflix show, The Tiger King. I binged watched it yesterday. Now, I'm not going to give you any spoilers, people, but that whole thing was shocking as well. So it's called Tiger King, Murder, Mayhem, and Madness, and it's on Netflix right now. I think there's 7 episodes. You will get some shocks of your life about this. Now, this actually made me think more about the animals, because the people in it, all of them, I'm including the lady that was having a contract out on their life, they're all horrible people. The reason being this is they all keep tigers and things in confined spaces where they shouldn't be. They let people to cuddle the tigers and take selfies with the tigers, and they get into the cages with the tigers, and something happens really bad in the first few episodes, and I'm not going to say what it is, but for the love of God, why would you do this to these tigers? They're confined. They are like, it's just a horrible situation. There's more tigers in captivity and private ownership in the US than there is in their native homelands. Let's think about that. That is ridiculous. What we should be thinking about is the conservation and the caring of the tigers, not making money or keeping them as pets, and then buying them and then keeping them as pets and realizing you can't handle it and giving it to somebody else that can put it in one of these sanctuaries where they can make money off of the tigers. It's just as bad as like beating a bear to make it dance. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. Now, I will say I do go to zoos. However, I do go to the zoos that are appraised in the what is it? They're, oh, I can't remember the word now. But they're like accredited zoos, especially accredited with the conservation programs, and there, because I cannot bear to see animals in small cages. We have a lovely place here called the Highland Wildlife Park, where there are animals there that the public don't actually get to see because the closures are massive. They're absolutely huge. They allow them to roam and try to roam as far as they can, but it's also a case of breeding these animals so that they can survive in the wild, and they have an excellent wildcat program. Scottish wildcats are an endangered species, and the wildcat program is brilliant, and these wildcats are extremely cute as well, but you're not allowed to touch them. And then some of them, what will happen is they'll breed them and they'll have the babies, the mom and the babies go off to another place. They get raised in an area where there's no human contact, and then they will get released back into the wild once they're old enough to survive by themselves, so that they can get taught how to hunt and things like that. And it's just massive spaces, and that's the sort of thing that I am into. I'm into like the conservation sort of thing. It might be a bit hippy dippy, but to be honest, I love my animals. I especially love Highland wildcats. My favorite animal is a red panda, though. I love a red panda. Red pandas are my babies. Oh, and a sloth, because I would be a sloth if I was born again, because barely move every day, and that is it. But it is a documentary that I would actually recommend. It is a good documentary. The story that overlaps all that stuff that I just talked about is really good and very shocking at the same time. But you'll get to the end of it and you'll be like, these people, they shouldn't be able to keep animals at all. There should be laws against them keeping these as pets, because basically they're either keeping them as pets or keeping them as measures to get financial gain, and that shouldn't be allowed. The only places that should be allowed to do that are places that are accredited and they are in an international breeding program, and the trading of animals is to help to mix up the DNA, because you can't breed same animals over and over again, because it just causes issues. Anyway, get off my high horse, but have a watch of that. Have a read of that book. I will be back hopefully having read another book or listened to another book next week. I believe the live stream for Peter's Book Club is this Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so it might be, I say might be, I haven't got anything else to do and I need some social contact. So I will be popping in on that because I did read the book and I watched the film. The book was Butcher Baker. It was Butcher Baker, and there is a movie, and it was available, I think it was Amazon Prime, it was available, about that. It was with Nicolas Cage, and either you get the movie, it's a bit, because it does give a lot of poetic license, however, but you'll either get a bad or a good Nicolas Cage in a movie, and this one, I think we get the good one. Anyway, it actually gives you a good insight about the actual area, the place and the time, and the context sort of thing. So anyway, I will see you later. I will have more videos up, not just book videos, but I'm going to try to see if I can make some series. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, oh, and thanks to the new viewers, if you've stayed this far, if you like me and you like my personality, and this is actually my personality, this is not for video, I am exactly like this, then click the like button, click subscribe, and if you want to leave a comment about what you thought about either of those books, or either the book or the Netflix show, then just pop it down below, because to be honest, I've been watching a lot of Netflix show while trying to study, because it's so hard when you've got kids, pets, and everything else going on at the same time. Thank you, and I will see you later. Love you guys. Bye.